now have $170 billion of dry powder available to invest.
What if I told you there's a company that holds more financial sway than most countries? An institution that operates quietly behind the scenes, influencing the global economy, from the price of your groceries to the health of your retirement fund. This isn't a government or a bank, it's BlackRock. As of early 2025, BlackRock had a staggering $11.6 trillion in assets under its direct management. To put that in perspective, that's a sum larger than the entire economy of every country on Earth, except for the US and China. But even that number doesn't tell the whole story. In the next few minutes, we're pulling back the curtain to reveal how this one company quietly became one of the most powerful forces in the world. Welcome to Wealth Chronicles, your gateway to financial success, growth, and power. Today, we uncover the secret empire of BlackRock and the strategy that turned it into one of the most powerful financial forces on Earth, the unseen puppeteer. So what exactly is BlackRock? On paper, they're the world's largest asset manager. This means they take huge pools of money from clients, like pension funds, university endowments, and sovereign wealth funds, and invest it for them. But their influence runs much deeper than just managing money. If you have a 401k or an IRA, there's a good chance you own BlackRock's products, especially their iShares ETFs, which are among the most common investment tools in the world. The performance of these funds directly impacts retirement security for millions of people, but their presence creeps into almost every corner of modern life, often without anyone noticing. BlackRock is a top shareholder in a massive number of the world's biggest and most important corporations. We're talking about companies like Apple, Microsoft, and Amazon, and even major media players. Their holdings are so woven into the fabric of the global economy that it's hard to find a major industry where they aren't a significant force. It's no wonder they've been called the fourth branch of government by some critics, thanks to their deep ties to policymakers and their role as an advisor to central banks during global crises. Yet for most people, the name BlackRock is totally unfamiliar. They are a silent giant, and their story is one of calculated strategy, unmatched technology, and the quiet accumulation of historic power. The rise of a titan. To get how BlackRock became this financial leviathan, we have to go back to 1988. Larry Fink, a brilliant but humbled Wall Street trader, had just been part of a department at his firm, First Boston, that lost around $100 million from a wrong-way bet on interest rates. Shaken by this failure, Fink became obsessed with one idea: understanding and mastering risk. He believed the financial world was terrible at it. So with a handful of partners and a $5 million line of credit from the Blackstone Group, he started a new kind of firm. It wasn't built to make flashy, high-reward bets. It was founded on the principle of risk management. That company was named BlackRock. At first, they focused on fixed-income investments like bonds, offering sophisticated risk analysis to their clients. They weren't just trying to pick winners. They were modeling all the thousands of ways an investment could go wrong. This obsession with risk gave rise to their secret weapon, a revolutionary technology that would one day dominate Wall Street. The real explosion in BlackRock's growth, however, came from their mastery of low-cost passive investing. Instead of paying managers to try and beat the market, BlackRock offered products that simply mirrored entire market indexes, like the S&P 500. When they acquired Barclays Global Investors in 2009, they became the world's top provider of exchange-traded funds, ETFs, through their iShares brand. This was a game changer. It let them attract trillions from investors who wanted diversified, low-fee portfolios. By simply aiming to be the market, they started to own a piece of nearly every major company within it. This strategy was less about being a clever trader and more about becoming the bedrock of the entire investment world. And as more money poured into these passive funds, BlackRock's power grew exponentially. The tentacles of power. BlackRock's empire is built on three pillars of influence that work together, creating a power structure unlike anything the financial world has seen. The first pillar is common ownership. Because their funds track entire indexes, BlackRock is a top shareholder in thousands of companies, including direct competitors. For example, they are a major investor in both Coca-Cola and PepsiCo. Together with Vanguard and State Street, the other members of the Big Three asset managers. They are the largest shareholder in nearly 88% of all companies in the S&P 500. Critics argue this creates a huge conflict of interest. Why would they want the companies they own to compete aggressively and drive down profits? When you own a piece of every horse in the race, you're not betting on one to win. You're betting on the race itself, and you want to ensure it's a profitable one. This concentrated ownership gives them immense voting power in corporate boardrooms, influencing everything from executive pay to long-term strategy. The second pillar is their incredible political clout. A well-documented revolving door exists between BlackRock and the highest levels of government, with executives frequently moving into senior roles at the U.S. Treasury and the Federal Reserve, and vice versa. This cozy relationship was on full display during the 2008 financial crisis. When the U.S. government needed an expert to manage the toxic mortgage assets poisoning the financial system, who did they call? They hired BlackRock. It happened again during the COVID-19 pandemic, when the Fed hired BlackRock to manage its massive corporate bond buying programs to stabilize the economy. This unique role as the government's go-to partner in a crisis has cemented their status as a systemically important institution. All the while, they have successfully argued they are not a bank and have avoided the too-big-to-fail designation that would lead to much stricter regulations. Though they are designated a globally systemically important financial institution, GSIFI, by the Financial Stability Board, which comes with enhanced oversight. But the third and most powerful pillar, the true secret to their empire, is their technology, a platform called Aladdin. Aladdin, the all-seeing eye. Aladdin, which stands for Asset, Liability, Debt, and Derivative Investment Network, is often called the central nervous system of global finance. It started as an internal risk management tool, born from Larry Fink's obsession with never repeating his 1986 loss. But it worked so well that by 1999, BlackRock started licensing it out to other financial players. Today, Aladdin is a technological marvel. It's a single platform that combines portfolio management, risk analytics, and trading operations. It doesn't just analyze the past, it runs massive simulations to stress test portfolios against thousands of potential future events, from sudden interest rate hikes to climate disasters. And here's the most astonishing part. Aladdin's reach extends far beyond BlackRock's own assets. The platform is used by hundreds of the world's most sophisticated financial institutions, including massive insurance companies, corporate giants like Apple and Microsoft, and the largest pension fund in Japan. As of late 2025, the Aladdin platform was monitoring and analyzing risk for an estimated $21 to $25 trillion in assets. That's more than the entire GDP of the United States. It's estimated to oversee more than 10% of the world's stocks and bonds. This gives BlackRock something more valuable than money: data. They have an unparalleled real-time map of where risk is building in the financial system and where the world's biggest investors are moving their money. They don't control the market, but they have a view of it that almost no one else has. Critics worry that this reliance on a single piece of software creates a dangerous herd mentality. If Aladdin's models ever had a major blind spot, it could trigger a system-wide crisis. Aladdin is BlackRock's ultimate weapon, cementing its position not just as a player in the game, but as an architect of the system itself. A new kind of power? From a small firm born out of a trading misstep, BlackRock has built a quiet empire. They did it not through some secret plot, but through a brilliant and relentless business strategy, an obsession with risk, the popularization of passive investing, and the creation of an all-seeing tech platform. Their power isn't the loud, in-your-face power of a government, but the quiet, pervasive influence that comes from being part of the very plumbing of the global financial system. Their influence presents a paradox. On one hand, they manage the retirement funds for millions of ordinary people and provide critical stability and liquidity to the markets. On the other, this immense concentration of financial power in one company raises profound questions about accountability. When one firm is a top shareholder in nearly every major corporation, influences government policy, and provides the technological brain for the financial system, who is watching them? We live in a world shaped by forces we rarely see. BlackRock represents a new kind of power, one built on data, scale, and network effects. It's an empire built not on land, but on capital, with its directives sent not by law, but by algorithm. As their influence continues to expand, the central question remains: is it safe for one company to have this much power over our world? The answer is far from clear, but understanding the question has never been more important. If you want to keep pulling back the curtain on the hidden forces that shape your money and your world, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more breakdowns. Thanks for watching. This is Wealth Chronicles, your gateway to financial success, growth, and power. We'll see you in the next video.